Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a survival video, essentially covering how to build a shelter in a bushcraft style, a certain poncho shelter, if you will. So we're going to be using one of the military surplus poncho shelters, just a quick expedient poncho shelter used to keep you out of the environments as quick as you can. So it's some people use the name called a Ranger Diamond. I use the name Plow Poncho Shelter. That's the actual name for it when it comes to categorizing different shelters you can make with ponchos. So the main key things you're going to need to start this poncho, the key component is going to be a military surplus poncho shelter or some shelter that fits the same footprint as it, and then any poncho liner. So whatever poncho liner you want to use, or a whoopee, whatever you want to call it. Along to go with those, you're going to want 4 tent stakes. So you guys could use whatever tent stakes of what size of your choosing, but you want to make sure you have some 550 cord wrapped around them, so you could use this later on to tie off points and extend the diameter of the inside of your shelter. Okay, so all you want is a poncho liner, a poncho, 4 tent stakes, and then you guys also want this as a little extra helper. Have at least like 1 bungee cord. You can have 2, but I use 1 bungee just to start off the wraparound on the first tree. Okay, these are essentially the main items you need: poncho liner, 4 tent stakes, and a bungee, and that's all you need to start your Plow poncho shelter. So let's get into it. Okay guys, first thing you want to do is you want to take your poncho, lay it out, and you want to get it facing one of the corners towards whatever tree you're going to use to mount it with your bungee cord. So I'm going to use one of the 4 corners, that corner facing towards the tree. Okay, once you guys have that corner facing towards the tree, pointed towards the tree, then what you want to do is take your bungee and wrap it around the tree. Just do 1 loop around the tree. Then you're going to take one of the bungee grommets. You're going to wrap it through the poncho grommet. Once you do that, you want to pull your bungee to tighten it as much as you want. Then you're just going to double wrap this around the tree until you reach your preferred tightness, okay? Once you do that, you could either hook your bungee on any branch that fits on it, or you could hook it back on itself. The good thing about bungee is when you're using bungee, it gives you some slack within your shelter, so it gives you room to adjust without everything snapping apart. Paracord, everything's going to be really tight, so if you don't got everything set perfectly, it gives chance for things to fall apart or rip if you don't have it set perfectly the first time. Okay, so what it should look like with your first step is you should have the one corner of the poncho hooked to the tree through the bungee, and the bungee should be pretty tight when you give it a pull. All right, from here we're going to go stake the other 3 corners. All right, okay guys, so the first corner you're going to want to stake is the corner that goes directly from the tree straight out from the tree. So the line of the tree coming straight out to where the first poncho grommet is. Okay, hard ass dirt. What you guys are going to want to do from there is do the other 2 stakes, and then you'll have 3 corners staked out, and you should have 1 attachment hooked to the tree with the bungee. I'll show you guys what that looks like right after this. So you guys notice how I got all 3 corners staked out on the tent now? We're on the poncho shelter. I have the bungee hooked to it on the tree. I have the other 3 corners staked out all around. So what you guys are going to want to do is notice how the hood is saggy in the center of the shelter, right? What we're going to do is we're going to take some 550 cord, just some paracord. We're going to cinch that around the hood. So I'm going to show you guys what that looks like right now. Okay, what you guys are going to want to do is you're going to want to grab the hood of your poncho. Your hood should already be cinched off like this. Take the little string that comes with the poncho, and you guys just want to tie off your hood. Make sure it's cinched off before you start the shelter. All right, once you got your shelter set up with all 3 corners staked out and 1 corner bungee to the tree, then you're going to start to tie around your hood that's cinched up in order to pin it up and tie it off to a branch or something above it, so you could give yourself more space inside the shelter, as you see right here. So you don't even need to make the best knot. We're just making a quick makeshift knot to hold this steady temporarily. This isn't a big deal on how we tie this down. All right, so make sure, as you guys can see, I'm using this little branch right here. It's nothing sturdy, but it's going to work. So I just need to tie it tight enough to where it pulls the hood up, but not so tight that it's going to break the branch and cause too much tension, if you get what I'm saying. All right, we're not even doing a full knot. We're just doing like the start. That's where you just loop it around and tie it off, and that's going to give you enough pull on your hood so it gives you some room to actually get in there. Okay, Okay guys, so as you guys can see, I have the shelter set up now. It's just a quick little riggedy method. We can improve this and give some more room and headspace inside, but this is just quickly how you would set it up if you were needed to get out of the rain or the environments in an expedient, quick manner, all right? So this is essentially how it's gonna look if you set it up quickly. You just wanna try to tie off the hood that's cinched up, tie it up to a little stick, a little branch right there, and give yourself some more headspace inside. So once you got that done, this is where your poncho liner or whoopee comes into play. All you're gonna do is you're gonna throw this in the ground inside, and this is gonna be your ground sheet or ground blanket, something you can wrap around yourself at night to keep you warm. So we're gonna do that and show you what it looks like after. Okay guys, as you guys can see, we have the shelter set up. I just gave you guys a quick glimpse and b-roll of what the inside looks like. That's gonna be your home for the night. So as you guys seen, it's a pretty spacious shelter. It's not like having a good two-man tent or four-person tent, but you shouldn't be expecting that when it comes to making survival shelters on the go in an expedient manner. All right, this is just to get you out of the environments, out of the rain, or away from enemy eyes as quick as possible. So that's essentially the mission here of what we're trying to achieve. So as you guys can see, this is what it's gonna look like. Once you guys got this set up, there's ways you guys can improve the shelter and make it more comfortable living in and have a better sleeping area. But when you first set it up, this is how it's gonna look. But I'll show you guys some pictures I'll throw up right here of my last trip out in the mountains that I set it up. This is how it's gonna look when you guys really put it and put some good effort into it. Right here, I put a blow up mattress in it, tarp underneath, put the whoopee or poncho liner on top of that, and then we just made it more comfortable, a little bit more secured inside and sealed away from the environment. As you guys can see, I laid some pine needles and stuff around it to seal off the edges away from incoming wind and more bugs and stuff that could get in. One thing to keep in mind is when you guys are making a shelter like this, regardless, you're gonna be open to the environment, open to bugs and critters. So you either have to be comfortable with that or calculate the risk and decide you don't wanna do it. One way that I mitigate this without having a bug net, the way I avoid getting bit or having bugs crawling all over my face and on me is, right now I have short sleeves, but what you guys wanna do is have some longer sleeves or unravel your BDU or whatever your combat top is and tuck that into some gloves. You guys could either have some Nomex gloves, some cheap working little rubber gloves that are like dipped in the paint, whatever gloves of your choosing. Just make sure they come low enough on your wrist so you could actually tuck your sleeves into your gloves. That way there's no exposed skin that any bugs could get inside or ticks or whatever it may be. That way they cannot get inside of your sleeve and crawl up. That's how they get up on you, and that's how you get Lyme disease. What you want to do is cover your ankles. Same thing when it comes to your feet, okay? So what you guys would do if you were in this environment and you're wanting to protect yourself while you're sleeping in this type of shelter, make sure your sleeves are tucked off, hands and skin are covered so they can't get up your sleeve, and then you want to take your socks and tuck them above your pants. Tuck your pants into your socks, okay? Or whatever method works for you the best. That way it seals everything off. Most likely if you have that tucked like that, no bugs are going to be able to get in. Sometimes they even double up this method by having some, either the military base layer or some long johns, whatever it may be. Have an undergarment. You could tuck that into the socks and tuck the pants over that, so you guys could have like double protection. But whatever you do when you're sleeping like this without a bug net, make sure you're tucking your clothing into itself to protect your skin and keep critters from crawling into you. But those are some key tips that I would give away when it comes to sleeping in environments like this, making shelters. Make sure you guys are being smart about protecting yourself from the environments and not just getting bit up just to try to rough it out and just be tough. Sometimes it's okay to be tough and have those skills and be able to put yourself through that, but sometimes it's smart just to try to be smart about it and not get bit up and get infections that are not necessary. All right, so as you guys can see, I'm in this shelter. I'm kind of curled up right now. That's what you would do depending on how you're laying in it. But if I lay with my feet facing towards the outside, I could actually get a full extension almost and be pretty comfortable in this. Like I said, this could be made to be more improved and more comfortable. Right now, I don't have the hood pulled up too high, but as much as you guys could get it around you is the best idea. You guys want to have a Ranger diamond type shape. That's why it's called the Plow Point Poncho Shelter. The key of what you're trying to accomplish here with this shelter is to get yourself out of the environments, out of the wind and out of the rain, so you could stay safe, stay warm, and stay dry. Okay, so this is essentially what it's going to look like on the inside. As you guys can see from the pictures I showed earlier, I'll throw them back on the screen right now. This is what it looks like if you improve it and you give yourself more room and try to put a bed in there and stuff like that. So there's a lot of possibility with the shelter, but this is the most quick and expedient shelter that is available to you when it comes to making shelters in the wild. All right. Okay guys, but that's essentially the way you guys make a quick, expedient plow point poncho shelter, or what some people call a Ranger Diamond. As you guys have seen, if you watch Grantham or some other channels, some of them call it Ranger Diamond, some of them call it poncho shelter or plow point poncho shelter. But that's essentially how you do it. Have 4 tent stakes, have some 550 cord wrapped around your stakes pre-staged in order to tie off the hood like this right here, so you guys give some more space on the inside, and have a poncho liner or a whoopee to put as your ground sheet to keep some warmth or wrap around you at the nighttime. But that's all you need. One thing I do want to note as a side note before you guys come out here and make these kind of shelters, make sure you come out here in the proper equipment, proper clothing, like I mentioned before, so you could tuck your sleeves in, and make sure you're pre-treating your equipment before coming out here. I would recommend you bring bug spray if you have it, and pre-treat your equipment with something like permethrin by Sawyer, or there's other brands that you could treat your clothing, backpack, and certain equipment to keep it guarded from ticks and spiders and certain bugs, and also try to avoid things like poison ivy. Okay, when it comes to making your shelter, don't just plot your shelter right into a bush or below a bunch of trees or something. Also, make sure you're not sleeping underneath a tree that could potentially fall down on you. Check the trees, check the environment, and make sure nothing is broken or swinging around that could potentially fall and kill you in your sleep. Very important things to evaluate, and make sure you checked before you establish a spot to be your shelter, and make sure that's going to be your home for the night, because if you do, that may be your home for eternity. I hope you guys went on to enjoy today's video. Let me know what you think in the comment section if you like these type of survival videos, and if you want more of them covering ways of making shelter, different ways to improve your shelter, make fires, ways of camouflage, hiding from thermal, things like that. I'll be glad to come out with more content like that because I'm into all of that stuff. I'll also be releasing more content discussing prepping stuff involved. So talking about food storage, water procurement while you're out here in the field, things like that. Just ways to advance your skills and make you guys more resilient and more of an asset rather than a liability to you and your people and your community. But that's essentially what I got. Hope you guys went on to enjoy it. I'll have more videos coming out later on in this FP.